This month, and especially Tech Week, was just putting in the work ahead of times and then letting things go. I was thinking this whole time a little bit about the quote that you said in the beginning of just, being at the top of the slide and going for it. And that was a lot of where I kind of was with a lot of this, because, as the summer started, you're kind of like, oh yeah, September is going to be busy.
Welcome to Symplicity Conversations, where we explore what it takes to lead with purpose in business, community, and technology. Today, I'm joined by Symplicity's own Doug Seites. He's our Director of Marketing to go behind the scenes of a whirlwind season of Tech Week, ArtPrize, National Spotlight on Advancements with Ted Danson. We're talking team strategy, creative wins, and what's coming next for Symplicity. I always love doing these check-ins with you, Doug. But let's first start with our Symplicity Insights. This is our famous quote of the day. You can't be that kid standing at the top of the water slide overthinking it. You have to go down the chute. And this is from Tina Fey. I love that one because, gosh, how many times do we overthink things?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Be sure to subscribe to Symplicity Conversations to hear more from leaders shaping the future of business and community. So Doug, welcome back.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, I love these conversations because, our marketing has just been exploding. We've been doing just so much to where I feel like you're like struggling, like, what do I post? I've got this great news and I've got this even better news and I don't know what to post. So it's been a bit crazy, hasn't it?
Yeah. First world problems, right? Having too much content and too many like cool things happening.
Right.
But yeah, it actually has been a little bit of a struggle because there's been we'll talk more about them, but we've had so many different events going on and things that we want to highlight and all this good stuff. And it's like, you want sometimes for that to have a little room to breathe and people to like see it and interact with it and read it and like soak it in. But then like 2 days later, something else is going on and it's like kind of pushing ourselves out of the news cycle a little bit with it. So it's been a lot, but I'm not complaining about. I'd rather have more things to talk about and good things than like just be sitting here and trying to rack my brain on how to get us out there a little bit. So I'm not going to complain too much about that.
Yeah, let's talk about this busy season recap. The past few months, it's been activity for Symplicity. But how would you describe this period for Symplicity and for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's been busy. It's been a lot of fun, but it has been busy and a lot of work and a lot of planning. Especially this past month, and we're recording this end of September, and September was it was busy. It was a lot going on. A couple really big events that just so happened to be the same week, which I'm sure is great for a lot of people and was great for us. I'm not trying to say that it was, but it definitely made that week in particular, but also kind of the preceding weeks to it with having Grand Rapids Tech Week and ArtPrize starting at the kind of the tail end of Tech Week, made those be, having to be very focused, but at the same time, very fun weeks for us, I think.
Yeah, we had the event with Steve Wozniak, the Woz, right? We took almost 30 people to that. And thanks to some awesome sponsors, that helped us, bring them. We met at the office, which people are still, when they're first come to the office, they're just like amazed. And we have to show them the vault, right? They always want to see the vault. But it's really cool to kind of see them just experience the Symplicity office and to have our name on the building. And they're like, oh my God, your name's on this 12-story building. Right. It's like, yeah, it kind of is. But then to just take them to experience, the event itself and have, I wasn't sure what to expect. I'm an Apple user, iPad, iWatch and iPhone. But I really wasn't sure what to expect from Steve Wozniak, but I was impressed with, it was just storytelling, and, just kind of letting him tell his story. But I really liked when he said that the three of them had stock, but he shared with, a greater group of 7 or 8 individuals because it was the right thing to do. And we say that a lot at Symplicity.
Yeah.
You do the right thing even when nobody's watching, because I believe in karma. And she does not forget an address.
Right.
But no, I think seeing people and seeing how, that is a huge impact on the world, like to create the computer and, the iPhone and the Apple products that have been developed, to know that this is where it started, and let him tell the story. I think that was a pretty cool event.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, you kind of never know what to expect sometime with speakers, especially when, they're just a really famous person and you're kind of like, are they just going to talk about how famous they are? Or are they going to actually, give some good wisdom and stuff? But yeah, everybody at the event, when they came back to the office for a real little happy hour afterwards and stuff, and just another chance for the guests that we had to get to know us and get to know the sponsors that we had with us, like everybody had something that they took away from it, which I think, that's kind of the good sign when you're a speaker, that not only does everybody have something, but everybody has something different. It wasn't just like, hey, they said their catchphrase. I remember, like, no, it had different things with it. So
yeah.
So I think that was a good event to kick things off. Literally, it was the kickoff event, but to kick things off for us too. Like it was, it wasn't an event that kind of earlier in the summer. I knew that we were going to do Tech Week all the way back in the spring. We kind of knew we were going to do ArtPrize back in the summer when we met some ArtPrize folks, but the kickoff thing wasn't kind of on my agenda until we got a little closer to the event, and then sales kind of had a good idea. And I think this was a good example of just collaboration, like both internally between marketing and sales, and hey, what do you guys want out of this? How do we invite people? How do we deliver a good experience for people? But then also collaboration with Symplicity. And then, like you said, we had 3 different sponsors that were there, and there was a lot of trust on their part that we're going to deliver and make sure that we had people there. But then, them also coming through and, being able to talk to the guests that we had there about their products and to just be good hosts and stuff. So I think, to me, that was kind of I was a little unsure when we first I was like, what do we want to accomplish out of this? And then, we had good meetings with Aaron and Nick, and like I said, just good cooperation and talking between us kind of on a daily thing of like, hey, where are we at with this, and with them too. So I think, to me, after that event went well, I was kind of like, okay, we've done the legwork. Things are going to go smoothly as they can. So
yeah. Well, and then the next day we had our big event at our place, and to have 70 people sign up, you're just like, whoa, how many are going to not show? But boy, we had a packed house, and we had a cool event. Roberta McCarter from Nova Data Journey. She started her company this year. We are working together, and it's data and analytics, and that's an area that I think companies don't necessarily have a good handle on. They certainly don't have a lot of staff focusing on that. I feel like if they're doing something, it's probably consultants that they've brought in to do that. But so we're learning a lot about data and analytics, and, the attendance showed it. We had a packed room. We had some incredible conversations after. We ended up having Amir Hamid, who is the VP of Innovation and Technology at Ring Central, in the room on the panel. And then we had our own Erin Stewart, who her background is customer experience and automation. So we had 3 really great people after Roberta's keynote be able to answer questions about real world situations of what's happening. And I think that that's what the audience really appreciated about the event. They could kind of connect and understand, where their company might be in the scope of things. And that's what you want to do when we're designing these events. You want to feel that you're bringing value.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a great event. Roberta was, she's great. And she delivered such a good,
solid
presentation to everybody. And, you know, I mean, when you set these things up, you're always kind of, again, like, you know,
I hope they're a good speaker.
Is the speaker going to go well? Are people going to be interested in this? Like,
right.
do people know what they're getting into? And yeah, I mean, watching from the sidelines, like, I mean, people were focused and were listening. It wasn't like people were, you know, messing on their phones and like, oh, when's this? You know, people were
leaning
engaged
in.
And had great questions and stuff. And and then with the panel and I mean, both Roberta and Amir, former podcast guests. So make sure you guys watch those episodes for a little more on them. But and then they had such great questions and stuff. And like you said, you know, we had 70 something people, you know, register kind of pre-event and stuff. And, you know, when you're doing events and stuff, it's kind of always like you kind of expect like, you know, 35% of those people that register for stuff aren't going to show up. So, you know, I kind of went into it. I was like, if we got 35, 40 people, I'm going to feel good. And then we were, you know, close to, you know, 60, 65 people, something like, I forget what the number is off the top of my head, but I mean, we had a ton of people that didn't register they're like, hey, my coworker said they're going to this and it sounded great. I want to go. Or like, I saw this morning. And, you know, I was still getting emails from people that morning, like, hey, registration's closed. Can we come in? And, you know, I wasn't going to be like, no, don't come to this and come see us and stuff. So I think, you know, that was great. I mean, we had a good majority of the people that registered still came, but then, you know, having people that just showed up and were like, this is what we want to do. I mean, especially in a thing like Tech Week where there's so many events going on. I mean,
oh my gosh, 120, 120 events, you know, the first year was 7. I don't know the second year. I don't remember, but the third year, last year there were 70. So I remember 7 to 70. That's a lot. Yeah. And this year getting up to that 120 mark, wow, that really was impactful. In terms of, you know, being on the technology council and kind of watching all of this, you know, kind of develop throughout the year, was really cool to see the kickoff and see all the events happening and all the social media, and the right place kind of basking in the glory of that. And so it's going to be really cool to kind of have some debriefs with Jen Wangler and just the team.
Because talking to them on it. But I mean, you know, like I was saying, 120 events and you've got people that are that didn't register, that are showing up. Like that kind of speaks to, you know, one, like what we put out as a talking point from Roberta, but I think also too, to like, you know, kind of public trust and like Symplicity is going to deliver something good. They know what they're talking about. It's going to be an interesting thing. So that was nice. And I mean, the event went great. Got to talk to a lot of people at the event. Like you said, maybe people stuck around afterwards and we're talking to, you know, Nick and Aaron and yourself. And I mean, really the whole staff that was there and, you know, got to talk with Roberta a lot after it. So those were both a great start to Tech Week that, I mean, I mean, that was the first time that we've done Tech Week. We've talked about it for a couple of years and, you know, we're looking for the right way to do it. And I think, you know, this year
we found it.
Yeah. And I think this year with having the space that we have, like it just made it so much better that like, hey, we can just host it in our own. Because we were looking at, you know, last year when we talked about it, we were looking at venues, going here and there and stuff like that. There was just so much, you know, I don't want to say so much work, but like maybe not what we wanted to present. Yeah. And this was a great way to have people, one, come and see us and kind of get introduced to us, but two, like utilize the space the way that we've been wanting to, where we can have a cool event like that and have, you know, 70, 75 people in the space with us. So,
yeah. And I think being on the location at Monroe Center where we are, and then they can go catch other things around and walk to it. You know, being that I'm living downtown now and being able to walk to different things, I really appreciate now going, not having to get in your car and drive and find a parking spot and what's the parking like. And, you know, we had our event on Thursday at Corwell Health, the new space, which was phenomenal. They had really easy parking. But, you know, that was a great event as well, but it was different because you had to get in your car and drive to it. It was just far enough away that I couldn't walk to it. But that was great. We had Sharon Gillenwater there. She wrote a book, Scaling with Soul.
Yeah.
And you know,
the speakers at that were great.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. We had Kristen Williams from Meyer. We had Aaron Stewart.
Yeah. She was all over Tech Week this week for us, or that week for us. So
Yeah. So that was really cool. And then Stephanie Eckley from Trinity Health, she was the moderator. So after Sharon gave her presentation, then we had the panel go up. And that was, again, really cool, talking about automation and, you know, where companies are at. So that was just really a neat, another neat event on Thursday. And I really like where we positioned ours, the time of day, and on Tuesday, because we were kind of on the early ramping. That was kind of cool. And then being able to kind of do that collaboration with Inforum in the right place, the Technology Council, kind of bringing those organizations together. So Symplicity sponsored that, and Becky and Jen and I kind of helped design that. I thought that was really cool with the Technology Next event with Inforum, is what it was called. And the committee was great to work with and in developing that. But
Yeah, I think it was nice too being a little early in the week, because then it opened things up the rest of the week for staff to go attend other things.
Right.
I mean, Nick,
because there were so many.
Yeah. I mean, Nick and Aaron were both all over the place all week, but even, and something that I always appreciate about us as a staff is it's not like, oh yeah, Doug went out and did marketing things, and Nick and Aaron went and did sales things, and Catherine did CEO things. Like, operations team was out checking things out and doing things, and customer service and stuff like that. Like, I think almost everybody got out to one thing, which I think, is great for them, as a learning experience. And then just for us as a company to, like, hey, we've got employees that, like, they want to go learn, they want to get better at things, but they're also making themselves present at this tech thing. Like, we're a technology, business right in the middle of downtown. Like, we need to be present at these things, and then having people that, and so, not just being at, we did a sales kind of related tech thing, or marketing, like being able to just go meet people and everything is kind of vital for us to do it. So I'm appreciative of the staff to do it, but I think, like, Tech Week is great in that regard, that, like, sometimes it's a lot. There's so many events that it's like, you're kind of scrolling through the page and find the right thing. But on the flip side of it is, like, there's an event for everybody, like, not just at everybody at Symplicity, but everybody that wants to attend this can find something that's beneficial.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's nice that a lot of them didn't have a cost. You could just attend. I think there were some that might have, but a lot of them didn't. But let's talk about some key takeaways. Tech Week was such a major milestone, just personally for us, I think, because this is our first Tech Week that we engaged in. We attended last year and did some things, but this year we hosted, and we wanted to, we hosted a couple of events and sponsored the Technology Next event. But I think that really helped us think, what is this going to be like? When you do the first time, you kind of run through it and it's like, okay, what would I do different? We're already kind of thinking next year, what do we want to do different? But what were some of the standout moments or themes that really resonated with you with Tech Week?
Yeah, I think, for me, a lot of this month, and especially Tech Week, was just putting in the work ahead of times and then letting things go. I was thinking this whole time a little bit about the quote that you said in the beginning of just, being at the top of the slide and going for it. And that was a lot of where I kind of was with a lot of this, because, as the summer started, you're kind of like, oh yeah, September is going to be busy. And you kind of, like, you and I joke about it, like, oh, you're going to be, and you would tell people, like, don't bug Doug for September because he's going to go. And it was kind of a joke for a while. And then August came and you're like, oh, okay, stuff's coming up and everything. And then I think kind of going into it, I, like, had this idea of, like, man, this is going to be really stressful and this is going to be a lot and stuff. And it ended up not being all that stressful for me.
Because you plan, and you're such a planner, and you had everything.
We could jump off the slide because we spent so much time, organizing things and planning things and going over, here's what we need to do, like having, you and I having meetings, you and Aaron and I having meetings, looping in Amir and Roberta for our event, looping in sales when we did the WAS thing and stuff. And I think that kind of speaks to, like, the, having a plan and I don't want to say sticking to it because stuff changed a lot
Oh my
during
gosh,
the thing.
it really did.
There was, you still got to be flexible with
Yeah.
it, but you just got to move that flexibility in your plan and be ready for the things that came up. Cause definitely things changed a lot from the first conversation when we were like, what are we going to do from Tech Week to what actually happened? But, it was documenting what do we need to do, who needs to be here, who's going to do this for us, and then trusting people to do what they said they were going to do. So I think kind of the takeaway on that was like, you put the work ahead of time and you plan things out and you're prepared, then you can kind of get to the event and just be like, all right, well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen now, but we can't say that we didn't put in the work ahead of time to go. Anything that wonky now is just because it was going to be wonky no matter what, or it was a fluke.
Exactly.
Like,
and
so.
it's okay. I feel like that's the fun part about it. It's like when things don't quite go as expected, you can either freak out or you can just say, well, that's what makes it, interesting and memorable. And I think we had some great, interactions. I think I'll call it the magic moments, right? The magic moments of, like, we had one where Roberta was sitting talking with her husband, and I said, "Dog, quick, take a picture of that." And it was this really great interaction that we were able to then, I sent that photo over saying, "Hey, look what we captured," and then, and what I thought was really, really cool was the photographer Russ Climby, and I'm blanking on his company name. I'm sorry about that, but that was so cool that he went around and captured Tech Week. Yeah. He got some amazing shots, and it was he used technology to like push that out so that he could, it would just show up on our phone and email or text like, "Hey, you've been spotted again," And so it was like really cool.
Yeah,
that
people were posting stuff on Instagram like 20 minutes after the event.
Exactly.
Like, hey, I was at this, which I think that was, for me, that was kind of the cool thing at the end of the event was like, we always do our post-event recaps and we're going to throw stuff on social and stuff like that. But then popping on there, that afternoon and the next day and just having, people that just attended, like they weren't Symplicity folks. They weren't like clients or providers or somebody. They were just people that just showed up, and then to have them like share pictures of like, "Hey, we were at this event. This was great," and have it be unprompted. Like that makes you feel good about it. That you're like, oh, okay, somebody that they don't have any reason to do this. Like they're not getting a benefit from talking about Symplicity's event, and then popping on there and be like, oh, a bunch of people sharing photos of the space and you guys talking and stuff like that was cool. And that kind of was like, okay. Because we were always going to be like internally like, yeah, that went well, right? Yeah, no one's immediately after the event, no one's going to be like, "No, Doug, that was terrible." Like so it's like yeah, whatever. So then to like just have like said people no reason to be like, "This was great," just be like, "This was great."
Share
like,
it and send.
Like,
I got messages from people that were like, "Man, that was awesome." Yeah, that's pretty special. You're very organized individual. You spend a lot of time, just making sure things are just so. And I think every event that you do, you kind of evolve your process to the event. But, we had a lot of events. And then, ArtPrize starting on Thursday. So they had to come in on Wednesday and got it up and running. How did you and the Symplicity team managed to stay organized and focused through that? Yeah,
I mean, it's communication when it comes down to it, and I'm not trying to like say that because like, oh, we're some good communication. It's like happy accident there, but it's communicate. It's letting people know what's going on, where people are going to be and stuff. Like just the amount of messages back and forth of sending, to our little internal office chat of people of like, hey, this is when people are going to be in the office. This is when stuff's going to get set up. So people, I don't want anybody when we're having events or when people are coming in or ArtPrize is going on, I don't want anybody in the staff to be like, I didn't know.
Right.
Or to feel like, oh, I wasn't communicated enough and now I've burdened them with something. So it's And I always, when we communicate it too, I always leave it open of like, if you guys see an issue or there's something that you don't like let me know. So either for next time we can fix it, or if it's
Right.
something that we can
Right.
tweak in the middle of it. So it's communication, it's planning things out, it's getting ahead of time of letting people know like, hey, Wednesday, I think you and I were here, we were doing podcast episodes. And so it was, hey, Ted and his crew are going to be here setting stuff up. And, Tom was great back at the office,
Oh, yeah.
helping them up and stuff like that. And just letting people know, like, they're going to be here from here to here. So there's going to be some noise in the middle of the office. Like,
Right.
expect that and stuff. And then
Plan for it.
Yeah, plan for it.
Yeah.
And then with all the time that we've had ArtPrize and stuff going on, we've had staff that have been there keeping an eye on things. And it's just, again, like communicating with it of, sending people reminders like, hey, tomorrow you're around. Something comes up, like, just let me know. We will adjust. Like, life does happen, kids get sick or soccer practice runs later, something like that. Like, just communicate and we go. And I mean, with anything, that's how you get there. You communicate with people.
Yeah. And when we decided to be an ArtPrize venue, it's 2.5 weeks where you have to be open from noon until 8 p.m. and then Sunday noon to 6. And so, I was a little concerned that you and I would be there the whole time. Yeah. And we have. I mean, honestly, it's been easy for me just to stick around and do things. And then I try to cut people early, like, because we've had staff volunteer to shift their hours and stay until 8. And that's been cool. And then just Saturdays and Sunday coverage, it's been cool to have people volunteer, because it's helping not just Symplicity gain exposure, but it's also helping their teammates, because, we're trying to spread this coverage around. Yeah. So we're not there every day until 8, as much as we tend to be anyways. But yeah, it's been neat to see the balance of Symplicity and having the staff kind of enjoy watching people come. I mean, there was one note saying that they think there were 5,000 people that came through on Saturday.
Yeah, last Saturday.
And I believe it, because they say that typically there's about 800,000 that come through ArtPrize events. And, it's just a little over a week now that we've been doing it. What day? I don't even know what day this is, but
Tuesday, I think.
Is it Tuesday?
Yeah.
Has it been more than a week? No, just 1 week.
A little bit more than a week. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I've been doing a little more hours than I thought. but no, it's been cool. And I told Ted Loomis is our artist, and it was so funny when we were talking about it. I said, Doug, pick a good one, because we've got to be with this person for 2.5 weeks, and I'm just imagining, who we could get. And Ted is totally...
He's been so great.
Oh my God. He's totally ruined us for any other future.
For a better partner.
That's what I said. So. I'm like, Ted, I actually am going to miss Ted when this is over, because it's
I've kind of gotten used to having him like an extra staff member. He's been in the office so much. So.
Totally. And we've had some magic moments. We had you did a great job on a little reception for, this man has had some people come that he's been friends with since kindergarten. And I think he's 78.
75.
75.
Yeah.
The relationships that he has, that his friends are coming from all over the U.S.
He had I apologize, I'm blanking on the gentleman's name, but he had a guy that showed up to the reception that they hadn't seen each other in like 29
1976.
years.
It was
crazy.
almost 50 years that he walked
just showed
in.
Up, and it was
Can you
crazy
imagine?
Because he kind of like tapped him on the shoulder, and there was like a little like, and then all of a sudden like they hadn't seen each other in like 50 years. And
I wish I would have witnessed this.
Imagine, so.
Yeah, and because I think just my mom, I've had a relationship that long, I don't even know. I don't have friends from high school, let alone, I just went to my reunion and reconnected with some people, but a small handful. He has lots of people coming in and out and driving and
people
seeing
from
him.
South Carolina,
Seattle,
Seattle,
Michigan,
Arizona.
California, Arizona. it's so cool to see the connections. And his piece is called the Kiowa, which means conversation. So Symplicity Conversations. I just feel like there were so many, and he used to work at Boeing IT. So that was something that when we were trying to choose, I'm like, Doug, can we find something to do with technology? Because I think that'd be cool. And so his haiku poems are not technology, but it is conversation. And we've been hearing his feel because he's there all day, every day, telling people about his art. And so we hear it. I think we can all recite it too. Probably. But I said to him, I said, Ted, I don't know what you're going to do for next year. You have to do something using these frames that you have. Do something with them because they're cool and they fit the space really well. But you got to come back because how are we going to choose other artists?
Right. Yeah.
We were going to have other artists in there, but I don't know if Ted's coming back. I feel like we just do one. Just let it be Ted's space. Yeah. Because I don't know. It's just he's been so great.
Yeah, he's been such a great fit, and he's such a good guy too, and just been so easy to have in the space and stuff. And he stops and talks to all the staff, and I think every day that somebody new that he hasn't met yet, like first thing he does is go in and introduces himself, and again like makes it accessible for them to like. And he knows the amount of times every day that he's like worried, like, am I in you guys' way? Am I doing it? And I'm like, no, you're fine.
Totally
but he's just been so considerate about like knowing like, hey, I'm in a business and they're still trying to do stuff. And it has been different. We don't have on a day-to-day basis, we don't have a ton of people that come in, we're not an apparel store or something like that, like the rest of the street or something. So, even on some of the slow days, it's been hundreds of people, let alone like, 5,000 people on a Saturday. So, it's been great for having people come in and see the building and kind of get to know. The amount of times when I've been kind of sitting out and kind of hanging out with Ted or whatever and hearing people be like, this building is beautiful. Like,
they're like, is this part of ArtPrize?
Yeah, right.
Like,
but
we should have thought of that.
Yeah, the amount of people too that just hearing like, I didn't know this was here. Or I didn't know anybody had, because it had been, the building had been, no one was in there for 4 years. 4 years.
Yeah.
We moved in January. So, hearing people be like, oh, this is great. We didn't know that this was here. And like, we want to know, more about it. And Ted's been great. Like,
he does.
Into his little thing about explaining what we do. Yeah. And it's like, oh, like you're doing our job for us here too. But we've had so many times too of just being able to talk to people in the community that didn't know who we were and stuff, like, which, that's a nice tangential it's about Ted and it's about his piece, but there is some nice secondary thing that we're getting so many people's eyeballs. So.
Yeah. When we decided to move in there, the thing that this space brought to us that our previous space didn't have was community engagement. Being able to host events and have space to do that. We've had United Way as one of our customers, and we've had fundraisers for them. We've had coffee circles for the Technology Council and for Inforum, to host lunch and learns from our service providers, to do a Tech Week event, to do ArtPrize, and to have everybody so engaged with how wonderful the space is. That's been a really added bonus of the space. But I think that kind of some of the lessons or surprising connections that came from ArtPrize, I think just feeling like part of the community, that was a surprise to me. Don't get me wrong, driving down the road and seeing Symplicity Communications on a 12-story building, I didn't know that was a bucket list item, but it is. It's like I go out of my way, especially at night because it's lit up. Yeah. And like, look, there's Symplicity Communications. It's just so beautiful. And then to really feel like a part of the community, like ArtPrize is a part of the community. It brings so much attention to Grand Rapids. And to know that we are a venue and we have a really cool artist that was a pretty cool experience. So do you have any like unexpected things that you weren't expecting?
Yeah, I mean, just a quick, piggyback off what you said. Like, yeah, I mean, it's been great to like finally feel like we're like a business on that strip in a way. Like it's, when we were first moving in there, like, I think just the Monroe Center area had kind of gotten so used to like, it's just a big old empty building with some apartments up there. And, we would talk to people, some of the other businesses, like going across the street to get some food or whatever. And be like, oh, we didn't know anybody was in there and stuff. So like having this and just kind of opening people's eyes, but then just like you said, feeling as part of this bigger community and being able to help out some of our clients or help out Inform and Technology Next and stuff has been great. But I mean, I think kind of unexpected with it has just been, it's been really cool also just seeing the different people coming into the office, and not even from a like, hey, are they a potential, do they need technology thing, but just seeing different people come in there and get to see
and appreciate
the art and appreciate it and stuff. And we've had school groups come in, which has been cool to just have them, come in and see a piece like Ted's that's, it's unique. It's not like it's not a portrait painting or, or a big sculpture. Like it's this big interactive piece that's, does need a little explanation. So good thing Ted's been there. But I mean, Ted was telling me a story the other day of somebody came in with their mother and she was in a wheelchair and they helped. And she was kind of like, is it okay if I'm in here with a wheelchair? I don't want to get in anybody's way. And Ted was like, no, absolutely. Like come in there. And so she brought her in. And I mean, this woman had to be, in her 90s or something and Ted talked to them for a little bit. And he told me this story yesterday when him and I were chatting, and he was just like, this woman she's just like, I don't get to go out and do stuff very often like this. Like, and you just, being able to show me your art and like talking to me and make me feel like it was okay that I wasn't in everybody's way. And he's like, Doug, like I just had to tell you, cause like this affected me a lot. And I was like, holy cow, Ted, like that's so cool and stuff. So just being able, like, that's so not related to what we do as a company type of thing.
I'm so glad.
But it's like, that was a cool thing that we got to be a part of. So,
that's really neat to hear because it kind of relates back to doing the right thing even when nobody's watching, right? It doesn't matter what business might or might not come from this. What matters is that we're welcoming people in and having them get exposed to that. And, if we never get anything off of that business-wise, whatever, that's fine. We're doing the right thing. We're being a good community partner. Absolutely. And, I actually think it's our space that kind of pushed us over the edge in the advancements with Ted Danson. So let's talk about this for a minute. I was reached out by the senior producer, and I kind of thought at first I was being punked. I remember coming and talking to you going, do you think this is real? And because it sounds kind of cool, but do you think it's real? Right? And so we ended up looking into this, and I went to Intellisys and their PR department and said, will you look into this? Is this real? So Ted Danson is the MC for this advancement show. And it's in the 9th season. And they asked us if we wanted to apply basically to be considered for the digital transformation show. And his, he likes, Oceans is his, platform, but he really likes to educate people on just any topic. I mean, I've gone back on some of the episodes. There's just wide variety of topics. So he wanted to educate on digital transformation, or the team did. And we talked about it, and they asked us if we had a venue to be able to film. And when I said, oh, do we have a venue? And showed a picture that our amazing, photographer took. And I'm sure that's one of the things where, oh my God, look at this space that we could film in, right? But I remember Richard, the senior producer, said, so digital transformation, if you're chosen, what kind of would be your platform? And I said, digital transformation is kind of passé. And this is what we do, right?
Yeah.
I said, it's kind of passé. Your real story is women in technology.
Mm-hmm.
And they changed the script. They
how often does that happen?
Yeah. They did digital transformation, but they really brought in the theme of
they
women in technology. And I love that. Yeah. And so we were selected. We filmed in our space July 14, and it went live September 13th. It premiered on Bloomberg.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to get ready to be moved to Amazon Prime eventually. But it's a 30-minute documentary. And we have a segment. There's 4 different segments, and we have a segment in there. And so I brought in Heather Krasinski.
Mm-hmm.
She is in customer experience at Intelisys.
Yeah.
And so she's just a young female. I wanted a voice. She's an excellent speaker.
Mm-hmm.
She's just fantastic in their customer experience and automation area. And then Erin. Erin started with us in June, so it was perfect to have her. So the 3 of us, women in technology, were filmed talking and answering questions about customer experience and automation and digital transformation and the importance of inclusion and women in technology. And it's a fantastic video.
It turned out great.
I know. And then we find out that of the 4 segments, they put us in the first segment because they thought our content was really, really good. Mm-hmm. So it's been just a great experience to be, and I think now I need to add to my LinkedIn title. I've got podcaster and CEO, actress, because we're going to be on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, you guys got to get your SAG cards or whatever.
There we go. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it was such a cool experience, and I mean that also kind of went to just the we talked about pivoting and stuff when we were going through this process, and you and I were kind of looking at the calendar and trying to figure out when might this go, and you and I think kind of had it in our heads this will be in
November.
November, maybe end of October or something. So it was kind of, I don't want to say back burner, but as far as the what do we need to do in marketing, and we had started hey, here's some plans of how we can kind of do this, and then all of a sudden
a launch party.
And all of a sudden they're September 14th or 13th or whatever it was right there, and we're oh, that's real soon. And then the second thing was oh, that's right in the middle of everything else, and that kind of we're talking in the beginning of best laid plans sometimes, of where it kind of was all right, we're just going to focus on Tech Week and ArtPrize, and then all of a sudden this came up, and it was now it's a puzzle piece of how do we make sure everything's getting seen, and how do we need to do, and obviously the events that are live and stuff have some precedence. You're trying to get people to them. You're trying to talk to people about come to ArtPrize, come to Tech Week and do it. So it was kind of, that was a little weird, and a little bit of we are jumping down the slide right now, because it's we just got to go with this episode.
And it's the busiest week. I mean, it was the Saturday before Tech Week.
Yeah.
So now it's whoa, but it's going to be one of those gifts that keeps on giving, because it premiered on Bloomberg. It's available on Vimeo. Is it on YouTube yet?
Yep. Yeah. You can go to our YouTube and
our
check
YouTube.
it out. Yeah.
But then also when it does launch on Prime, maybe we do a watch party then, because that would be cool.
So
but we'll be pushing it out because it's on Prime.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was such a cool experience, and then just personally kind of seeing the crew come in and and film that with you guys, and get to see how all of that worked and stuff. But I mean, it's an awesome episode. I had some people that knew that we were on there that reached out to me and said, hey, this was super cool, and can't believe you guys are on a show with Ted Danson and stuff like that. And it's kind of, it is still a little
it's surreal.
I don't think that one has hit me as much, because we've just been so focused in the now of ArtPrize and Tech Week and stuff, that I was sitting down the other day of kind of all right, what's our plan for kind of second phase marketing on this now that we're in there. And I had to sit and be oh yeah, I forgot we kind of did this because everything else was going on, but this is a big deal. And this is cool for us.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, and hopefully that one is one that leads to some people.
I know.
yes, it'd be great if it leads to, some business for us and some partnerships, but even just, I mean, it's great getting you guys' story and getting, the topic of, women in tech out there onto this platform and stuff. Like
exactly.
It's been something that we've pushed for a long time, like the podcast and everything that you do, but having a little bit more of a, national voice and being able to be involved in that is cool for the company and cool for you guys and cool for me to be a part of, I mean, I didn't do a ton.
You did a ton. You did a ton.
But it's cool. I mean, it's cool having that out there and like, because it's just so much different than like, we're doing a lot with our marketing and stuff, but it's, it's localized to a point and stuff. And then have something, big and national out there is like, oh, this is cool.
Cool. So what do you think has been your biggest personal or professional takeaway from these past few months?
Just trusting in yourself and like trusting the process. I know that is a phrase kind of, has become like a bit of a cliche over the past few years, like especially from like sports and stuff like that. But it's stuff like that becomes a cliche because there's truth to it. And, I mean, like I said earlier, like a lot of this, like there were times leading up to this where I was even telling my friends, like, if you don't hear from me for like a week and a half, it's not because I hate you guys now. It's like, I'm just going to be real focused in it, or like, or maybe like mentally I'm a little out of it. And we got into the week and a couple, my best friend Becky, and she's like, is everything good? Like, you're really talkative this week for all the stuff and I was like, yeah, like things are going well.
Good.
Like I don't have a stress on it. And a lot of it was just trusting. I kind of even, I took a few days off before Tech Week and I went up and camping and stuff. And before I went, I was like, this is a good idea. Like, all this stuff going in. It was a great idea. And it was kind of personally, it was a great idea. But it was also like, as I started to drive up there, I was like, I feel like I should feel more stressed about the fact that this is next week. And I was like, I'm not, because we did all the work.
Ready.
Like
I
made our plans. Ellie, our intern, helped me with some plans. You and I went through stuff.
Great.
She's been great.
She's amazing.
So it was just like, no, I trust that we did everything that we need to do. Like you said, like something happens, like it was just going to happen and it wasn't going to be our fault. So I mean, my big takeaway out of it was, be organized, have a plan, be flexible when you have to be, but trust yourself. Like when we got the events going, I was like, everyone's like, how you feeling? And I was like, good. We got everything that we need to do is here. Like,
we're ready.
It's kind of like,
I
mean, I hope Roberta does a great job. She did, but it was like, at this point in time, like everything that we had control of, it was a thing.
Couldn't have gone better.
Yeah. It was when I was coaching, it was a big thing that we always used to tell the guys is control what you can control. Like, there's other stuff out there that you can't, and you just have to control your reaction. But like, we controlled what we control, and things went well. And it was like, we shouldn't have been surprised by it. We put in the work for it. So trust yourself and you'll be there. And
I feel like I'm going to get emotional for it, but I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud. Like you celebrated August 29, your 3 years.
Yep.
And watching you flourish, Doug, especially this year, I feel like this building has done something to us all. Like it's allowed us to expand.
It's opened up a lot of opportunities to be more creative with stuff that we did that we just couldn't before.
It has. And so you have just embraced, and no matter what I've thrown at you, hey, do this advancements with Ted Danson. You're like, okay. You really stepped up and you've really figured it out, and you've just exceeded every expectation. Nice. And I love telling people about you and you're the director of marketing and where you've started and where you are now. And I'm just so incredibly proud of what you're doing, and that you're the one that has the marketing in the heart of Symplicity. That is the forefront, and that's the front door to Symplicity, and you are owning it.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of that too, just like I'm confident because I know you guys trust me. Like you put you and I chat a lot and stuff, but like we've kind of got to a point where, you're not looking over my shoulder to get things done. You trust me. And so that means a lot to me that you trust me with that, but also that the staff, like we got events and they're always asking, like, how can we help and stuff? And, which is great to have that, but also that they trust that, like, hey, if Doug's got a vision for what we're going to do, like, there's reasons behind it and we just got to trust them. Yep. So, just that trust from you and the staff makes it easier to be like, hey, let's take a chance on something and
Take a chance.
And
let's
do this.
Dive in.
Let's have a week where everything is happening at the same time, but we'll figure it out because we're
we can
a good
do
team.
it.
Yeah,
we are. Well, let's recap here. Like Tina Fey's quote reminds us, sometimes success means taking that leap and just letting things happen, right? Simplicity's recent season of shows, the power of momentum and creativity, not overthinking the big moments and just kind of letting it happen. It's really exciting. And I'm looking forward to where we're going. We're just, most importantly, Doug, we're going to have fun.
Yeah.
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 So for more stories like this, visit thesimplepodcast.com, follow us on LinkedIn, and subscribe on YouTube to stay connected with our journey. Thanks for watching.